Hey guys, Dan Goulart. I'm a coastal project manager for the Nature Conservancy in Massachusetts, and I work in oyster restoration and living shorelines. And I use ShellfAST on a fairly regular basis to do desktop reconnaissance prior to going in the field because I can identify the locations of natural resources, the location of aquaculture, as well as eelgrass beds and areas of critical environmental concern that might impact the siting of our restorations, but would also impact the siting of an aquaculture site. So I'm just going to go over to my favorites here where I have ShellfAST saved. I'm sure whoever's working with you will provide you with a web address for ShellfAST. And when it first opens, it's opening in a ArcGIS Esri interface, similar to ArcGIS Online. It gives you a couple of prompts here. You'll just sort of agree to the terms of use like you would with any other program. And it opens the map as unlabeled imagery, showing essentially the eastern half of Massachusetts and a bit of Rhode Island and Connecticut. And then it also provides you with a list of layers that are available to put over this map. If you're unfamiliar with the geography, you can also change the base map that it's providing you here. There's a variety of options here. The easiest one to find your way around and zoom in is probably going to be OpenStreetMap because it gives you all of the town names and highways that you might just be familiar with. So in this case, we'll just zoom into Plymouth, Kingston, Duxbury Bay area. Um, and then we can just switch back to imagery if we want to see the actual resources on the ground here. And then I'm just going to go back to my layers list. So you can toggle back and forth between those really easily if you're looking for a particular street, and then you can just toggle back to imagery. So this layers list gives us a lot of resources that can be displayed over the top of the map, and you can display multiple layers at one time, which can help you sort of start to look at places on the map where there aren't any conflicts with potential aquaculture siting. Um, you know, First among those would probably be aquaculture sites, since you won't be able to site on top of an existing site. And you can see that Plymouth, Kingston, Duxbury has a pretty high density of aquaculture right now. Um, and then in addition to aquaculture, we look at a lot of other resources that would be either just damaging to the environment or difficult to permit if we tried to site aquaculture or even an oyster restoration site on top of things like eelgrass beds that start to map out in here. Um, and then shellfish suitability areas. Even in the restoration world, we're looking at all of these various shellfish suitability areas to see if the place we want to put, say, an oyster restoration site or an aquaculture farm, is going to conflict with something like quahogs or soft-shell clam. That's a pretty busy layer, so I'm going to turn that off. And then, is the area approved for shellfishing? What's the classification that the Division of Marine Fisheries has given that area, which is probably going to be really important for aquaculture, which tends to want to be in approved areas, which are green here. Conditionally approved areas are lime green, and then the prohibited areas are shown in red. So this is a really useful layer, and it can help you determine whether or not a place you're trying to put an oyster farm or some other aquaculture is going to be suitable or not. And then from a permitting perspective, there are, so as you layer those all on there, it starts to sort of show you the areas that don't have conflicts, that don't have aquaculture, and that are approved for shellfishing. So you can start to zero in on some potential sites. And then there's other factors that are play into how difficult the site may be to permit, such as areas of critical environmental concern, which we're not seeing any in this, resources to avoid, which might be mussel beds or critical fish habitat. And we're not seeing any here as we layer these on and off. But if we were to layer those on and zoom back a ways, we start to see some of those pop up on the map. And you can see the area that we're looking at in Plymouth, Kingston, Duxbury isn't really impacted by those. So this tool is something that we use a lot prior to going out in the field. Say we were looking at a potential oyster restoration site down here in this lower part of Plymouth, Kingston, Duxbury. We might first just check to see if it's approved or not. And in this case, we might just see that this whole area, for the most part, is prohibited. And then maybe that would influence our thinking on, exactly where to go. Maybe the only place that's suitable is in this triangle here. And then we'd want to make sure we're not interfering with aquaculture. So we layer that in, and then we could just layer eelgrass beds in and see that we do have some eelgrass in that area, but there's potentially a site down in the lower corner of that triangle that could be a site that would work for siting aquaculture or oyster restoration. And then from here, we take all this data and we go out into the field and we talk with people who work in the Department of Natural Resources, shellfish constables, and others who really know the area and work in it every day. And that's where we ground truth this sort of desktop recon, and then really zero in on the sites that are going to work.